Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanamchari Yamuna Tira Vanamchari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Gauda Pimanandi. Jayam Vishupad Paramahamsa Tri Vrajacharya Stotra Satya Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Shilabhai Charan Arvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandi Biti Founder Charyas Divine Grace Sri Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Samavata Bhakti Vrinda Ki Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Dainitai Gauda Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurindiritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jita Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Syam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabalutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Ram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayasa Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhaviti Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamhitam Utamashloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nisreya Sayalokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literature, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Prabhu Nityananda
Sri Advaita
Sri
Gadadhar
Advaita Gadadhar
Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta
Hare
Vrinda
Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare
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 Rama Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare
Rama
Hare
Rama Hare Hare
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
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 Om Sarabhyai Namaha
Om Surabhyaya Namaha
Om Sarabhyai Namaha
Om Surabhyaya Namaha
Om Sarabhyai Namaha
Om Surabhyaya Namaha
Mukham karoti vacharam pangum langayate girim yat maham bande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Yat maham bande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our ongoing reading from first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are in chapter 7, entitled The Son of Drona Punished. And the text today is 33, huh? What text number? 32. Huh? We have diverse opinions. Well, I wasn't here for the class yesterday. Before that, 31 finished. So yesterday, who was in class? 32? Normally after 31 is 32. So you read 32 or not? Aibol, were you in classes?
Yeah, because no mark here.
No mark there. The mark should be here. In the mind. Again, Samudra Prabhu? What number?
Yesterday 31.
Yesterday 31.
32 yesterday. Yesterday 32. All the population of the three worlds was scorched by combined heat. Yeah, now 33. 33. Yes, confirm.
Okay, should we have a vote?
33.
Okay, I think it is 33. Logically, it should be 33, unless you read 2 or 3 verses yesterday. So we will read 33. We might read 1 or 2 more after also. Text 33. Tata asadya tarasa darunam gautami sutam babandhamarsya tam rakshaha pashum rasananya yatha tata asadya tarasa darunam gautami sutam babandha marshatam rakshah pashum rasanaya yatha Tata asadya tarasa
Tata asadya tarasa
darunam gautami sutam
darunam gautami sutam
babandha marsha tam raksha
babandha marshatam raksha
pashum rasanaya yatha
Pashum rashanaya yataha
tata not yataha yatha. There's a difference between yatha and yataha. Tata asadya tarasa
Tata asadya tarasa
darunam gautami sutam
darunam gautami sutam
babandha marshatam raksha
babandha marshatam raksha
pashum rasanaya yatha
Pashum rasanaya yata Tata asadya tarasa
tata asadya tarasa
darunam gautami sutam
darunam gautami sutam
babandha marshatamaksha
babandha marshatam raksha
Pashum rasanaya yata
pashum rasanaya yatha
Tata asadya tarasa
tata asadya tarasa
darunam gautami sutam
darunam gautami sutam
babandha marshatam raksha
babandha marshatam raksha
Pasum rasanaya yatha
pashum rasanaya yatha
Tata asadya tarasa
tata asadya tarasa
darunang gautami sutam
darunam gautami sutam
babandha marsatang raksa
babandha marshatam raksha
pashung rashanaya yatha
pashum rasanaya yatha tattaha
tataha
thereupon
thereupon
asadya
asadya
arrested
arrested
tarasa
tarasa
dexterously
dexterously
darunam dangerous
dangerous
gautami sutam
Gautami sutam
the son of gautami
the son of Gautami
babandha
babandha
bound up
bound up
amarsha
amarsha
angry
angry
tamra akshaha
tamrakshaha
with copper red eyes
with copper red eyes
pashum
Pashum
animal
animal
rasanaya
Rashanaya
by ropes
by ropes
yatha
Yatha
as it were.
as it were
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Arjuna, his eyes blazing in anger like two red balls of copper, dexterously arrested the son of Gautami and bound him with ropes like an animal. Kind of repeat after me. Arjuna, his eyes blazing in anger,
his eyes blazing in anger
like two red balls of copper,
like two red balls of copper
dexterously arrested
dexterously arrested
the son of Gautami
the son of Gautami
and bound him with ropes
and bound him with ropes
like an animal.
like an animal.
Purport. Ashwatthama's mother, Kripi, was born in the family of Gautama. The significant point in this shloka is that Ashwatthama was caught and bound up with ropes like an animal. According to Sridhar Swami, Arjuna was obliged to catch this son of a Brahmana like an animal as a part of his duty, dharma. This suggestion by Sridhar Swami is also confirmed in the later statement of Sri Krishna. Ashwatthama was a bona fide son of Dronacharya and Kripi, but because he had degraded himself to a lower status of life, it was proper to treat him as an animal and not as a Brahmana. Translation again. Arjuna, his eyes blazing in anger like two red balls of copper, dexterously arrested the son of Gautami and bound him with ropes like an animal. So, in the purport, Prabhupada explains that the important point in this verse is Arjuna's catching and binding this son of a Brahmana, Ashwatthama, with ropes, just like an animal. So this suggests, actually, in the purport, Prabhupada also mentions how Krishna, we will read in some few verses afterwards, will also be condemning the act of Ashwatthama, who in the dead of night killed the 5 sons of the Pandavas, thinking that this would be pleasing his master, Dronacharya, who of course was not at all happy or pleased with what Ashwatthama had done. And therefore Krishna will condemn this act, so much so that he will be ordering Krishna, or rather ordering Arjuna, to kill Ashwatthama. Of course, we know that in the Vedic culture, we don't kill Brahmanas. One should never kill Brahmana. Brahmanas are most highly respected within society because the primary reason being Brahmanas are the ones who uphold the principles of dharma. Actually, everyone in Vedic culture is meant to be following, respecting, and putting into practice the principles of dharma, especially the Brahmanas, because that is their primary responsibility, primary duty, to study very thoroughly, very deeply the subject matter given in the Shastra relating to dharma, and so they're meant to be very exemplary. But here, of course, we see how in this situation Ashwatthama was far from being exemplary. He actually went completely against the principles of dharma by killing the sons of the Pandavas. So, of course, on the one side, Arjuna also wants to kill him. Krishna is giving him his blessings, but ultimately he will not exactly kill him, as we will find out shortly. So this means that actually it's very interesting. There's an explanation given in one of the important works of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Sajjana Toshani. Sajjana Toshani has many very important instructions, and one is in regards to identifying the varna of individuals, actually identifying the varna of young boys in the village was one of the very important responsibilities of brahmanas, and the leaders within a village. I don't know if they in Bali know about this particular. This is like a standard Vedic system. Srila Prabhupada also refers to this in his essay on Gita Nagari. And specifically, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he explains that before a young boy reaches the age of 15, he must know what his varna is. And his varna, there are specific ways by which the varna is determined. There are 4 specific ways by which the varna is determined. Without getting into those details right now, in connection with what is being mentioned here, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he explains that actually normally the varna will be in connection or in relation to the family in which one is born, generally. So that means if one is born in a Brahmana family, normally he'll be classified as a Brahmana. But in some cases, one, by following these different, these 4 particular systems, one of them is like studying, doing an astrological chart. Through astrology we can understand so many things about individuals. By observing, that's another. So like this, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that if it is seen, because the Brahmanas, they will have known this young boy from his birth. They probably did his chart when he was born, because that's a Vedic system. So they have been seeing this boy grow up as a small child, baby, then young boy, and so by the age of 15, they have a pretty good idea what is the nature and character. And sometimes, for example, if somebody is born like in a Vaishya family, but he is showing signs of being like Brahminical, then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions that he may be upgraded. Although he is not born in a Brahmana family, if the elders and the senior Brahmanas are of the same understanding, then they can designate him as a Brahmana, and he will take up studies of a Brahmana also. Now the same thing, if somebody, for example, is although born in a Brahmana family, but is not showing signs, not interested in Shastra, cannot memorize shlokas, is much less inclined to Brahminical activities, then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions that he may be given a lower varna. He may be designated in a lower varna. So this was part of the tradition, And of course, this is a very exceptional example here of somebody like Ashwatthama, who is the son of a Brahmana, but born from a Brahmana, who took up actually Kshatriya activities, Dronacharya, but he is performing activities which are not at all, nor are they in accordance with Brahmana activities, nor with Kshatriya activities. Kshatriya, they act based on very clear principles. A Kshatriya will challenge someone, and he'll give him a weapon. Here, take this sword, and we'll fight with sword. Or if it's whatever other weapon it may be, there should be equal weapons when they are fighting. So, in other words, this is not unusual. If someone is not, and actually Prabhupada mentions in some purport how in the society, this is also part of the duty of government, kshatriyas. Prabhupada explains if somebody claims to be, for example, a Christian, then it's a responsibility of the government to make sure that he follows the principles of Christianity. And whatever religion one may belong to, then he should follow those principles. Of course, those principles, just like in Christianity, they allow meat eating. Well, also in Islam, but the proper understanding is that even in those literatures, just like thou shalt not kill, so it is forbidden. Even in the Quran also there are injunctions that one should not kill, especially the cow. So this is what is taking place here. Arjuna, who is a highly elevated soul, very, very qualified kshatriya. Qualified kshatriya means he knows the principles of dharma. Of course, in this case, it was very special because it was one of his sons who was killed by Ashwatthama. So naturally, he became very angry because the principles of dharma had not been followed. So we can continue reading here a little bit to see what will happen. So he was bound up as one binds up an animal. That is explained here. So text number 34. Yeah. Sibiraya nini shantam Rajva Badva Ripum Balat Praharjunam Prakupito Bhagavan Ambujakshanaha. Translation and purport. After binding Ashwatthama, Arjuna wanted to take him to the military camp. The personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, looking on with his lotus eyes, spoke to angry Arjuna. Purport. Both Arjuna and Lord Sri Krishna are described here in an angry mood. But Arjuna's eyes were like balls of red copper, whereas the eyes of the Lord were like lotuses. This means that the angry mood of Arjuna and that of the Lord are not on the same level. The Lord is transcendence, and thus he is absolute in any stage. His anger is not like the anger of a conditioned living being within the modes of qualitative material nature. Because he is absolute, both his anger and pleasure are the same. His anger is not exhibited in the three modes of material nature. It is only a sign of his bent of mind towards the cause of his devotee, because that is his transcendental nature. Therefore, even if he is angry, the object of anger is blessed. He is unchanged in all circumstances. So Prabhupada is pointing out the difference of anger by different mood, different angry mood between Arjuna's and that of the Lord, because here it mentions how the Supreme Personality of Godhead was looking on with his lotus eyes. So then the question comes, but Arjuna, his anger was transcendental or not transcendental? Well, Arjuna, we understand how Arjuna before the battle of Kurukshetra was put in a situation where he was perplexed or confused about taking up. But once he understood the desire of the Lord, he actually engaged in fighting, and that fighting, we know, was transcendental fighting because it was in the in line with protecting the principles of dharma. So, in other words, Krishna's killing on the battle of Kurukshetra was not ordinary killing, was not based on karma, was not actually resulting in. It was a devotional activity. But here we see that, of course, this is before. Well, no, it is during. Yeah, this all happened during the Battle of Kurukshetra. So it just underlines that there is a difference between the Lord, who is fully, completely transcendental, and even though he might exhibit anger, he his anger is of a different nature, because the Lord's body is fully, completely transcendental, whereas the body of all jivas is not on the same, the material body. So when someone like Arjuna exhibits anger here, then it shows, as described here, his eyes were, what is it, copper-like, two red balls of copper. So Prabhupada is just underlying here the aspect of Lord Krishna, who remains always transcendental in his activities. So we'll read one last verse here, which is Krishna speaking to Arjuna. Text 35. Mainam parthar hasi tratum brahma bandhum imam jahi yo savanagasa suptam avadhin nishi balakan. Translation and purport. Lord Sri Krishna said, O Arjuna, you should not show mercy by releasing this relative of a Brahmana, Brahmabandhu, for he has killed innocent boys in their sleep. Purport. The word Brahmabandhu is significant. A person who happens to take birth in the family of a Brahmana but is not qualified to be called a Brahmana is addressed as the relative of a Brahmana and not as a Brahmana. The son of a high court judge is not virtually a high court judge, but there is no harm in addressing a high court judge's son as a relative of the Honorable Justice. Therefore, as by birth only one does not become a high court judge, so also one does not become a Brahmana simply by birthright, but by acquiring the necessary qualifications of a Brahmana. As the high court judgeship is a post for the qualified man, so also the post of a Brahmana is attainable by qualification only. The Shastra enjoins that even if good qualifications are seen in a person born in a family other than that of a Brahmana, the qualified man has to be accepted as a Brahmana. And similarly, if a person born in the family of a Brahmana is void of Brahminical qualification, then he must be treated as a non-Brahmana, or in better terms, a relative of a Brahmana. Lord Sri Krishna, the supreme authority of all religious principles, the Vedas, has personally pointed out these differences, and he is about to explain the reason for this in the following shlokas. Yes. So even today, in our 21st century, that is a controversial subject. That means that there are many, in India at least, who believe that one who is born in a Brahmana family automatically is a Brahmana. And vice versa also, that if you're not born in a Brahmana family, you cannot become a Brahmana. Very major controversy, which Prabhupada had to address many, many times, because especially when Srila Prabhupada came back from the West, bringing some of his disciples, and when he was in Vrindavan, this is mentioned especially in the lectures given by Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan, the lecture series on the nectar of devotion. On more than one occasion, Prabhupada explains that we have come here to Vrindavan with some persons who are not from India, who are not born in the Vedic way or Vedic culture. And there is some sentiment, some criticism that this Krishna consciousness movement is ruining Vedic culture by making people who are not born in Brahmana families into Brahmanas. So Prabhupada was quite aware of the of this particular controversy, and of course he would quote various verses and give various explanations that it is not simply one's birthright because one is born in a particular family that he has that he should be recognized as such, but it is based on, as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, guna and karma. One needs to display the qualities, and one needs to demonstrate by proper activity also. So this this was actually from the very beginning of Mahaprabhu's introducing the Sankirtan movement, because Lord Chaitanya also was criticized how you're allowing so-called low-born persons to chant the holy name. Or how Lord Chaitanya, he was sometimes criticized for taking food, taking prasadam in the homes of non-Brahmanas. But normally sannyasis would visit only Brahmana families. So that's a whole, actually during the time of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, this was a very hot topic. And our more recent acharyas, including Srila Prabhupada, established the the difference between one who is Brahmana and one who is Vaishnava. So there's very nice discussions on this topic. If one is actually a Vaishnava, all bona fide Vaishnavas will automatically develop the qualities of a Brahmana. Yeah. Sunny, yes.
So, as the anger of Arjuna, whether it is transcendental or not transcendental.
That was my question.
So now we would like to learn the the situation, whether it is transcendental or not transcendental.
Arjuna was acting on principles of dharma because Asvatthama had not followed these principles and therefore uh, needed to be corrected. And so when there's, for Kshatriyas, if one is going to act as a Kshatriya and fight, he has to show anger. You can't just fight and remain peaceful. That's why Brahmanas are not good fighters. They're not meant to fight. Kshatriyas are meant to fight. And they're meant to this, fighting means showing some rajas, some passion. But when that is used in Krishna's service, that becomes, when used in Krishna's service and in keeping with the principles of dharma, then that is a transcendental anger. Like Hanumanji, we're talking about Hanuman this morning, he also became angry. And when he was arrested and bound up and brought before Ravana, and a whole discussion took place, and Hanumanji was very bold and just criticizing, Ravana, you nonsense, what have you done, etc. Anyways, Ravana then decided, okay, set his tail on fire. And then we know that with his tail being on fire, he set fire to the whole. So he was angry for, not because his tail was set on fire, he was angry before that because Sita had been kidnapped. So what was being pointed out actually in the verse we read regarding the difference between Krishna's eyes, who always remain lotus-like, and the eyes of Arjuna were described as like red-hot copper, balls of red-hot. Krishna's body is always transcendental. So Arjuna's body demonstrated seemingly what was not transcendental, but he was acting in line with the principles of dharma. So, so his his activity was in line with dharma.
Yeah, because the next slokas that Lord Krishna supported that the action of Arjuna.
Yes, and
it is because approved by Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna is transcendentally approved.
Yes, and then Krishna, we will, just like we're reading here, that Krishna is telling Arjuna, you should not show mercy. Kill the guy.
Yeah. So not so material mercy.
Right.
So it is a spiritual mercy to kill.
Well, we read before how, I don't know if you were in class, possibly, I think so, not so long ago, that there are, Shastra enjoins that there are specific situations where one can kill. If one attacks our home, if one abducts one's wife, if one comes with a sharp instrument
Yeah.
to kill you, then, just like many years ago, I was here in Mayapur at the time when the temple was attacked. I mean, the temple was attacked a number of times because in those days there was no boundary, nothing actually. So that was in '77. Prabhupada was still physically present. When Prabhupada got the news that our devotees in Mayapur were attacked, and some of our devotees had gone were arrested, actually, had gone to jail in Navadvip. So Prabhupada had mentioned anyone who attacks, they should have been killed. They should have been killed. So there are authorized instances where one can actually kill, although we uphold the principle of ahimsa, nonviolence, but not simply sentimental nonviolence on principles of dharma. Otherwise, the whole battle of Kurukshetra would not be authorized. Yeah. So on principles of dharma, which is very, very exceptional, like that. So yeah, and that will be coming up in the next few verses. Arjuna, on the one hand, is being told by Krishna that you have to kill this Ashwatthama. Don't show any mercy to him because of what he has done. But then we will see how Draupadi will come and tell Arjuna, don't kill because he's a Brahmana, because he's the son of a Brahmana. He's not a Brahmana, he's the son of a Brahmana. So that naturally will be putting Arjuna in a very difficult situation. Two great personalities. I mean, Krishna is telling to kill, and then Draupadi is telling them to kill. We will see what happens when we go to those. Yeah. Anything? Okay. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Sri Prabhupada ki Jai. Who's making noise? Huh?